I actually find it fascinating how, you know, and I'm primarily speaking with how things commonly tend to start out. You're a normal person, and it doesn't matter what career you're doing. Let's say you're doing just any form of career. It doesn't even matter if it's admirable or not. Obviously, preferably have it's admirable and one worthy of being praised. But it just fascinates me how you can literally have the face of a normal person, and you look at that person, and then when they become famous or have some form of clout, pre-selection, social validation on a network, social media scale, it changes their face quite literally. But more so mentally, how you view them, the perception changes. I'm not going to say any names in particular, but let's just say the majority of celebrities, right? The majority of celebrities are they obviously naturally they're starting out, they have a normal face. They blow up, and it's like it changes everything. No, let's do use names. ISO Speed is just the first person that comes to mind. You look at him, he looks like a normal guy. Let's say you've never seen the guy, you've never seen his presence on social media. He looks like a normal person, right? But the moment you see the following, it almost changes your view of that person. So in a weird way, they almost become iconic because of the amount of people who recognize their face. And what could be potentially be ironic, I may also be the same. I have 91 subscribers now, but well, as far as I'm aware, the last time I checked, I had 91 subscribers. The date is I put the date in the beginning of the video, the 8th of May. Well, April. I look like a normal person. Like, you look at someone like me. I'm a regular looking guy. I'm just a regular bald black guy. Yeah, I just happen to go to the gym. But yeah, I'm just a regular guy. With an interest in life in some way, shape, or form. And I don't consider myself fit because yes, Gordon, because you're not famous. But let's say I do become famous. I'd prefer not to. But let's say even I had some form of a social following. Let's say I had 100,000 subscribers. Even that would change someone's self-perception of how they see you. It would change their face of how they see you. When you're not literally changing your face, now you could do it via as a byproduct of the money and the income that you do accumulate. However, I mean from just another person's perspective, they're perceived differently. Their face is more, I don't know how I could put it into words, but I guess you could say it's more recognizable. I mean, that's common sense. Iconic. Because of how well known you are. How well known you are. That's fascinating. How it can actually change everything. How you can literally you can be a celebrity. Well, you start off with a normal face. You're just good at what you do, and then you gain some form of a social media presence and you're perceived differently. Is that me? Well, it's not like me because I don't have a high following, but let's just use another person for example. They walk around the street, let's say they're a guy, no one recognizes them. Just a normal guy minding his own business, doing what he needs to do. He gets some form of a social media following. He's getting hyped up all the time. Let's talk about it from a woman, how women would see this. Even if the guy isn't even attractive, they'd go like, who on earth is this guy? And their perception of the guy would change because of the following he has now, the status. You'd be surprised how much status can change how someone views you. It can make all sorts of, potential, what is the word? Like, opinions. Whether you should care about that or not, I mean, that's up to you. Personally, I think you shouldn't for the sake of your mental health. But I just find it crazy how, like, that can really change your self-perception. Let's say I don't know what celebrity, Kanye West. You look at him, he's a normal looking guy. Take away the status, take away the fame, the followers, the money. He is a normal looking guy. But I will never see him as a normal looking guy now because of the status he's been able to accumulate. his career success. And I think it's like that with everyone. Singers, I don't know, let's say Ariana Grande, looks like a normal woman. Let's say I've never seen her in my life, which I haven't. Well, in the physical sense, I haven't. But obviously in social media, let's say you haven't seen their social media presence, right? You would perceive it as, you know, you would see it and you would think to yourself, well, she's a normal looking woman. She's not, like, she's a pretty normal looking woman. But now that you're aware of their social status and you've seen it repeatedly, your perception of that begins to change. You view them differently. And it may happen to you. You know? You may suddenly gain a social media following. You know the common phrase, a wolf in sheep's clothing? In this scenario, you'll probably be the sheep in wolf's clothing. Sometimes it's so crazy how someone can just blow up so quickly. And you're not used to that. You're used to being the underdog. If not underdog, just a guy who's under the radar, not really recognized as much, just minding your own thing, doing your own thing in life. And I can only imagine what it's like to, gain that following, gain the clout, and I'd imagine it would do some good to your ego. Obviously, I know there's always a con to that also. But I think it's just something worth bringing up. Definitely interesting, I will say that much. Very interesting. And I will say this, it's reasons like that why you should be grounded and just humble yourself in situations like that. Because it's very easy to let that success get to your head. Happens every single time with celebrities. Look at Conor McGregor, for instance. He was starting off with his MMA career. He was an absolute savage. He was dominating the sport of MMA. He got comfortable after that win with Jose Aldo. And that success, he started partying out, dating all these beautiful women. And I understand it's hard. When there's all these beautiful women coming at you and you're at the top of the world now. You came from absolutely nothing, now you're something. And then people are constantly praising you and recognizing you for your efforts. It's very easy to have that get to your head. So it's important to stay humble during those moments too. And it's a very tough skill to learn, but it's a very easy skill. Well, I wouldn't necessarily say easier. I know it takes time to build over time, but it's a very useful skill to learn. I would say that much for sure. Alongside humility, understanding that yes, you may be great now, but you still have a long way to go in life, as we all do. Because none of us will ever be perfect, but let's try to be as perfect as we can. And not in a toxic way. Let me rephrase that. Because even perfect, aiming for perfection. Because even aiming for perfection is futile. Let's become as great as we can while we're alive. I think that's a better way to phrase things. For sure. It's a better way to phrase things. Become as great as we can. I just find it mad how perception changes. This may even happen to me, which will add some form of irony depending on how I turn out in the future in terms of social media following. And it probably will, because I do want to grow this channel and gain a relatively big following. Let's say 100k to a million. I don't want to be like famous or anything, but some form of a big following. Let's say I don't mind having like a following from like 100k people to a million. I don't mind that. But even so, having that following count, that's going to change people's perception of you. But even so, having that following account, that's going to change people's perception of you. Just for having the status. I'm a normal guy walking around the street. Just a normal guy. Like, if you saw me walking around the street, if you've never seen my content before, probably think nothing of me. Hey, some of you have probably seen my face. I probably walked past you, assuming you live in London, England. We probably looked at each other, we probably forgot. Right? But let's say you didn't forget and you look at me. You'd still walk past and think nothing of me. But if I were to come up to you and then show you, let's say I did have a large following, it would change your perception of the person. You would view them as something greater. And this goes back to like our primal days, and like, let's say you're in tribes. You see this guy in the forest, you meet him. Stranger, think nothing of him. He takes you back to his tribe, his village. You see him with a boatload of people and it changes their self-perception of him. You know? So you view them differently. You view them differently. self-perception changes. You can't help but respect that person because of what they built, the loyalty they built. So you'd assume that they must have some form of competency in their area. To even accumulate a tribe like that, they must have some really good leadership skills. You must be very mentally and physically strong to be followed. And the same is translated in real life when you have a big following. Regardless of the fan base, it's the mere fact you're able to accumulate that much attention and eyeballs. It's going to make anyone's head turn around. It's rare. Especially in this modern day. Now, I know it's common to see on social media, but we're just walking around everyday life. In that sense, I guess you could say it is relatively rare, you know? Crazy how that works. Wow. Crazy stuff, man. I don't really have much to say. I just find it crazy how you gaining even some form of status, some social media status, can really change everything for you, man. How other men perceive you, how women perceive you, women who would never give you an eye, never even give you the time of day. Do you now because the pre-selection? That's just one of many examples, man. The doors that you can get yourself into simply because of the fact that you have a following. You're able to do business with all these amazing people. You can have your pick. And that comes with money too, so you can call the shots now. You have the power. It's a beautiful thing, man, depending on how it's used. And girls, and this is more so advice for yourself. It will happen to you. Assuming you keep posting on YouTube, it's probably going to happen to you. It's how you use it. It really is a matter of how you use it. With success comes more haters. Can't have one without the other. Newton's third law. For every object, there's always an equal and opposite force. I know I paraphrased at the beginning, but same rule applies. It's how you use it. And if you want to gain a following of some sort, you might as well use it for a good cause, you know? Yeah. That's perception, man. It's how someone sees you. It's perception, man. Make them believe. Make them believe. Perception. It's how someone sees you, man. From another person's standpoint. From a second person narrative. From a third person narrative. More than just you. And it may even change a first person narrative. Wow. Perception is crazy, man. This shit can really change you. Change how you see things. Change how you see yourself. Depending on. So I'm just looking at a really beautiful tree in front of me. What you allow. You may let the positive comments get to you in a good way, which you should, to propel your self-image. But on the other side of the coin, you can let the negative get the best of you and you see yourself as less. When you speak to someone else, they may see you as differently, as we discussed with the analogy of going to the forest. And with someone from a wild scale, they'll most definitely perceive you as different because you've been able to accumulate some form of following. Whether that's good or bad, people know you now. So it just changes everything. Crazy, right?